So in some kind of way, this is a love letter to my wife. This has been just a nightmare. You're watching Flannel Farms, and my name is Brian. You're inside my house, currently under construction. Out there is the addition that we built. And when we built the addition, we needed floors in it. And when we decided to put floors in it, cost-wise, we could really only afford LVP. However, we found some reclaimed flooring from a dance studio in historic Williamsburg. And it is beech hardwood. It's harder than oak. It's made in Denmark. And it's tongue and groove, 3/4 of an inch thick. You know, quality stuff. And we got it for a really reasonable price. However, I've never done hardwood floors before. We got so much hardwood flooring that we actually decided to do the entire house, well, at least the main areas. We're not doing bedrooms, those are staying carpet, but we're coming right in through the living room and into what will now be the dining room, and then we have a foyer to do, what we're gonna call the media room, and potentially one more room after that if the materials hold. And what I've discovered doing this, it's not as easy as they make it look on TV. So normally, with hardwood flooring, there's what's called a tongue and groove system. Here's the tongue, you see the little part that sticks out? And here's the groove. And what you're supposed to be able to do is you put the tongue in the groove, you see my little gap right there? And you take your little thing, and you just tap it into place, all nice and such. Yeah, that's not happening at all. It isn't too bad on the ends, but when we start putting them together this way, you're really supposed to just kind of be able to snap it in, and you can see this is a small piece. And I've had to whack it, and it's not really getting that tight. As it turns out, if you're using reclaimed lumber and it has sat on a floor for decades, over the years it has expanded and contracted and expanded and contracted and expanded and contracted until it's not exactly the size it was when it left the factory. Now, if we'd have bought this flooring brand new from the factory, that would have been fine. Or if the gentleman, who did a fantastic job, by the way, the guy that we bought this from, pulled this all up himself and he organized it very neatly. But unless you mark every board that was connected to every other board, it's not going to go back together the way it came apart. The boards won't be the same. So what's happened is I have boards from one side of the studio that expanded and contracted at one rate with another side which expanded and contracted at another rate together. Which means it goes together something like this. Two pieces. Whew. And those went in easier than most. Also because it's used, over the years it has sat there, it collected lint in the tongue and groove section, so each one has to be cleaned. I also spent 2 days grinding staples out of all this. As I'm sure you guys know, you can't go bashing along the tongue, because if you smash this part, you will have nothing for the groove to get into. So, we've made a sacrificial piece, and what I've done is cut a board in half, lengthwise, and then we cut the bottom of the groove off so that way it doesn't actually get stuck in the tongue and groove, and then I can wail away with the hammer on that, as you've so witnessed, to get it to fit into place. Now I have done that over this entire project. Every single board I've had to whack on to get it into place. Normally, with hardwood floor, you can kind of kick it into place, tap it gently with a hammer, it will lock up, and then with the appropriate nailer, when you slide it into place and whack on the back of it, it actually tightens it up for you. No such luck for Brian at Flannel Farms. I have spent 8 days. This is my 9th day. It took 6 days just to get the addition part done. So now we're in the dining room and we've got the foyer and one other room to go. There's something else about this stuff that makes it incredible and a big pain in the neck at the same time. It's 12 feet long, which is great, but each one of those pieces is made up of tiny pieces that they put together in the factory. They're all the same thickness, so it's all solid 3/4 inch. But they made it up of a bunch of individual boards, which means that it has flex to it. So when you're trying to hammer it into place, as you saw over here, one end will pop out, you'll go hammer that back in, and the other end pops out. So it's been a treat. But actually, if I had to do it over again, I would. Not because using reclaimed stuff is better for the environment, or because I got it for $1,000. All those things are true. But the reason I would do it is my wife really wanted hardwood flooring in her house. Cost-wise, I couldn't figure out how to make it happen with just going and buying $7, $8 a square foot brand new wood. So this is something we were able to afford. So in some kind of way, this is a love letter to my wife. I'm doing all of this work. I want hardwood floors too, don't get me wrong. But LVP, that'd have been all right. I don't really care that much. I'm a guy, so to me, tractors, barns, those kind of things, that's what gets me jazzed up. If the floor looks okay, the floor looks okay. I don't care if it's made of vinyl or wood. But when this is done, it's gonna look absolutely beautiful. And my lovely wife, Mrs. Flannel, stays home and homeschools our kids and spends a lot of time in these spaces. So, if I can make these spaces beautiful for her and afford it at the same time, that's something I'm gonna do. Honey, I love you. Thanks for doing all you do for our family. Well, I've got more flooring to lay, and as you saw, it's kind of a pain in the neck, so I'm gonna get busy with it. Thanks for joining me here today. If you haven't already, please hit that like button. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel, where we seem to be doing stuff that's a pain in the neck all the time. Keep growing as you grow. See you next time.